First of all, we just need to give another round of applause to the organizers of this event, Michael Doling and Rena and Jamie Lee. I'm sure I'm forgetting many. What most of you probably don't know is that Michael and his friend Alfredo traveled to Pennsylvania on multiple occasions and climbed through garbage dumps of animals who had been discarded and brought them back into New York City and froze them. These organizers have been working on this event and bring it for months. And I just want to say, I'm sure on behalf of everybody, thank you, thank you. I might be hallucinating a little bit from the heat because I just saw a police officer standing on the side of the patrol car urinating, and she didn't even squat. So anyway, I wanted to break the ice. Here's a few things. First of all, about 10 years ago, I stumbled upon a vegetarian festival at my public library, and there was a big sign out front that said free samples. And I went inside and I ate all of these free samples, and on my way out I picked up a Meet Your Meat DVD. People familiar here with Meet Your Meat? I didn't pay any attention to the animal rights tables. I was so focused on the free food, but when I got home, I put that DVD in my in the DVD player. I watched Meet Your Meat, and that was my aha moment. My life changed forever. And I went vegan on the spot. And I took that DVD, which had such an impression on me, to my friends' houses one by one. And I sat down with them, and I thought for sure their reaction would be the same as mine. How could anybody see this footage and not make an immediate change? I had felt stupid when I first saw the footage, because here I was, like I'm sure many people here, who I sat down to eat 3 times a day, and I called myself an animal lover, yet never once did I make the connection between the animals who I was eating and living animals, between the food on my plate and living animals. And so I showed this DVD to my friends, and very few of them went vegan. And it occurred to me in that moment that we have a tougher job in the animal rights movement than those who have fought for other social justice causes. Because giving gay people the right to marry didn't take anything away from straight people. And giving women the right to vote didn't take anything away from men. But giving animals the right to live takes away the carnivore's ability to eat meat. And that's why it's so difficult to get, one of the reasons why it's so difficult to get to move the needle, and why this social justice movement is such a challenge. And of course, the other reason is that animals don't speak human languages. If they did speak our languages, we wouldn't be here today, because you can imagine what they would be saying, and the whole world would have to listen. So I just want to convey a couple of things that I've noticed in the animal rights movement in the about 12 years since I went vegan. And then the first is that while we're in a movement that is still in its infancy, we have made a lot of progress over the past 10 years. In the past 10 years, we've seen the Animal Enterprise Terrorism Act and ag-gag laws to silence us. Federal and state governments are moving mountains to silence us. And that in and of itself is an indication of how much progress we've made and how big an impact we're making. And of course, the animal protection and animal welfare and animal rights groups are going to fight these laws tooth and nail, but it is a good sign that the industry is fighting back, because we are making a difference. We're in this for the long haul, because the human species is a greedy one. We're going to want to continue to eat animals and wear their skin and have them entertain us and experiment on their bodies. And so getting that to change is going to take a long time. So pace yourselves. We're in this for the long haul. I've learned a couple of other things, and I'm going to briefly convey them. The first is, if you're an animal rights activist, you care about animals, pick one thing and do it well. You can't do everything. And if that one thing is running a campaign, great. If that one thing is there's a war on animals. If you want to be a soldier for the animals, show up time and again at the protests. If you can't do that, then get on social media and fight the fight on social media. I had a meeting with Citigroup recently about the abandoned chimpanzees, and they said that one of the reasons they met with us is because they wanted the attacks against them on Twitter to stop. So social media is effective. We know it's effective. I'm a journalist for animals with my website, theirturn.net. I'm going to make a story, a video, maybe a 3-minute video from this ceremony today. I'm going to post that on Facebook, and I'm not going to boost it and target it to animal rights people. I'm going to target it to KFC and McDonald's and meat and dairy, so that the people who need to see these stories, which are often ignored by the mainstream media, will see them. We, each of us, has the power to be a journalist. We have our smartphones and we have simple video editing software. Please, if you do nothing else, be a journalist for the animals. I had one more point to make. And the last thing I wanted to say, 2 more things, is exit your comfort zone. One thing I've learned from Collectively Free and Direct Action Everywhere is that we can all be better advocates for animals if we exit our comfort zones on their behalf. And it also builds ourselves. It's also good for ourselves when we exit our comfort zones. And the last thing I'll say is, the people, our enemies, those who have waged a war on animals, those who terrorize the animals, are still regarded by mainstream society as the victims. And those of us who are fighting on behalf of the animals are regarded as terrorists. That will change. If you want to be an activist, we're going to have to live with the consequences of the mainstream fighting against us. But please stick with it. We're all in this together. We need each other. Thank you very much for having me.